But I think the interesting piece is that for a lot of times people still believe that anybody can walk into HR, right? It's a field. If you're good with people, you can do HR. On the contrary, I think there's a lot of science involved in HR. There's a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of expertise that is involved in HR. There's labor law. There is human sciences. There's behavioral sciences. There is the whole aspect about organizational development, organizational behavior. All of that science comes together, and now digital, right? All of it comes together for anybody to be an effective HR person. Okay, and if somebody walks into HR, I think it's quite welcoming to have people from all streams walk in. But I think those people who've done well have demonstrated capability to pick up these subjects and build a mastery over it for them to be able to do well, right? And that, I think, is what TISS actually inculcated very early as a part of the learning, that labor laws are important, human sizes are important, organizational behavior is important, understanding of data statistics is important. But I think leadership has a bigger role to play.
Okay.
And that is where the crux of the matter is. I think the biggest aspect in any business is the quality of leadership, the humility of the leadership, and the way the leadership wants to manage their people and leverage HR to be able to manage those people. Right? A lot of times you realize that, and that is why the mortality rate of CEOs is the highest.
Correct.
Right? Because shareholders' expectations are different, the organizational workspace is different, the culture is different. To put it all together, I think leadership role is what makes a big difference. I wouldn't put it all with HR, but a lot of us, when my colleagues are actually busy hiring the right leadership talent in the company, and that is where some of the consultants in job market make so much money, because they are actually able to put the right people for the role. But I think leadership plays a huge role in some of these elements. Otherwise, it wouldn't really function the way we expect it to function.
Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of podcast on HR to CHRO. And today we have Mr. Rohit Vishal Gupta. He started his career with ITC, then he worked with Wipro, GE, and currently he is CHRO of Varun Beverages, the largest bottlers of Pepsi. So, welcome, Rohit.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. And this is one of the first few podcasts. So I'm also looking forward to the new experience.
I'm sure it will be a learning experience for everybody watching.
I hope so.
To start with, why HR, Rohit? Why did you decide to start in HR?
So I did my graduation in industrial chemistry. And I was a Delhi University topper there. I loved that subject. I was doing extremely well. And then, as things would have it, life put me in a stage wherein I said it's better to do what everybody else is doing, and chose for an MBA. And I made it through TISS, and that for me has been a life-changing moment. I would say it was more serendipity, and the fact that TISS, the cost of the program was low. The campus was fantastic. Yeah, and when I went there for my process, and I said, if I get in here, it'll be lovely, because just the whole vibe of that place, plus it's Mumbai. So it just worked out, and God was kind. I managed to get through, and it's been a fabulous journey from there on.
Great. So see, I've had, I don't know, 4 or 5 podcasts so far, and 3 of the CHROs I've talked to. So none of them, they started with the aim of getting into HR. So one wanted to enter the film industry, another was a economics graduate, and you are a science graduate who later on moved into HR. So how has been the journey been? So
So I think the seeds have been sown pretty early. So my father was in ESIC, and he was the insurance commissioner there, and he had frequent discussions with the unions and managing large people ecosystems. And I've seen him very close, and he's a kind of a role model from that perspective. And I think I learned a lot from him and saw it early, and it was pretty interesting. So when I chose this career, and when you actually start learning how HR operates and how does IR operate and how does that happen, I found that a lot of similarities in experiences that I've already seen from a bit close from my father's experience. So to that extent, it was not very difficult. But
Mm-hmm.
I think the interesting piece is that for a lot of times people still believe
Mm-hmm.
that anybody can walk into HR, right? It's a field. If you're good with people, you can do HR. On the contrary, I think there's a lot of science involved in HR. There's a lot
Obviously.
of knowledge. There's a lot of expertise that is involved in HR. There's labor law. There is human sciences. There's behavioral sciences. There is the whole aspect about organizational development, organizational behavior. Uh, all of that science comes together, and now digital, right? All of it comes together for anybody to be an effective HR person. Okay, and if somebody walks into HR, I think it's quite welcoming to have people from all streams walk in. But I think those people who've done well have demonstrated capability to pick up these subjects and build a mastery over it for them to be able to do well, right? And that, I think, is what TISS actually
Correct.
inculcated very early as a part of the learning, that labor laws are important, human sizes are important, organizational behavior is important, understanding of data statistics is important.
Correct.
And if you're able to kind of put them all
So they were
together, it helps you.
emphasizing data statistics that time, which has now become so relevant and important.
So there's a subject called social research, which has always
Okay.
been there. So when you
Okay.
design surveys,
Mm-hmm.
right, it's not a simple survey. You need to understand how do you structure your questions so you're able to actually get
Mm-hmm.
what you're wanting to measure.
Mm-hmm.
And the reliability and validity are the two aspects of that survey,
Correct.
which helps you understand what you're trying to understand, right? So to that extent, there is again science and statistics and measures involved. So it's all a part of the learning.
You said a very interesting thing that people think that anybody can walk into HR. And in my perspective, see, earlier people didn't used to change their jobs, till 5 years, 10 years, or our parents' generation, they would continue with the same company, which has now moved on to the other extreme. And HR is the only department which can actually uh, control the thing so that that movement doesn't happen. And it's very very important. But why was this feeling earlier, and maybe still in some of the Indian companies, this feeling is still there, that HR role is not that important, or anybody can walk into HR, like you said? Why is that?
I would disagree, first of all, to say that
Okay.
it's probably in some pockets,
Okay.
but very very increasingly you see that HR has a seat on the table.
Okay.
HR is represented in the boards,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a strategic partner to the CEO to run the
Correct.
business, right?
Correct.
Let's understand. Capital is relatively easily available to anybody who's wanting to look for it, right? Technology is fairly commoditized, right? It is people and how you do manage your people
Correct.
to be able to create that differentiation in the market for you to win.
Correct.
People create that differentiation for you to win.
Correct.
And even if it's a product, it is people behind that product to make it happen,
Correct.
right? So that is where I think the real capability of an HR person comes in, and how are you resourcing the teams? How are you enabling those teams and then getting the best out of those people?
Correct.
And then basically ring fencing, rewarding, and taking forward the people to get the best out of them and keep them relevant. I think that is
Obviously.
the whole crux of what
To add to
HR
that,
needs to add to do.
all the aeroplanes are manufactured by the same company, but it's the service or it's the experience that the customer gets, to which HR plays a very important part, which differentiates maybe a top company with the maybe not doing so well.
I think HR definitely plays a role, but I think that there are again a lot of elements that come to. Just yesterday, I was talking to somebody from an airline that shut operations.
Okay.
They unfortunately couldn't manage their spare supply chain well enough,
Oh,
and
okay.
because of that, the business went through a trouble and they had to shut their operations. Right.
Okay.
So there are a lot of other elements that come together to make a successful business. I don't want to say it's all people only,
Correct.
but people who took the decisions not to order the spares
Mm-hmm.
at a certain burn rate,
Mm-hmm.
again, I think it's, are those the right people who should be doing that work?
Mm-hmm.
Or, and that is a call that needs to be taken well in advance, right? But all of these definitely come together. I don't want to say that you put a group of really good people in a room and business will do well, but it is also about how are those people empowered, enabled, and you create the right systems for those people to add value
Correct.
in their area of expertise.
Or can I put it differently, that companies where, I mean, now HR is important in every organization, but earlier companies which had good HR would not face these problems like you're talking about the airlines, because the leadership or the team would be proactive in handling those problems. In case the HR is not that proactive, then maybe 1%, 2%, or the culture would not be that good that those problems would be addressed in time.
So HR has a role to play. I'm not discounting, but I think leadership has a bigger role to play,
Okay.
and that is where the crux of the matter is. I think the biggest aspect in any business is the quality of leadership,
Mm-hmm.
the humility of the leadership,
Mm-hmm.
and the way the leadership wants to manage their people and leverage HR to be able to manage those people. Right? A lot of times you realize that, and that is why the mortality rate of CEOs is the highest.
Correct.
Right, because shareholders' expectations are different, the organization workspace is different, the culture is different. To put it all together, I think leadership role is what makes a big difference. I wouldn't put it all with HR,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of us, when my colleagues are actually busy hiring the right leadership talent in the company, and that is where some of the consultants in job market make so much money, because they are actually able to put the right people for the role. uh, but I think leadership plays a huge role in some of these elements. Otherwise,
Fantastic.
it wouldn't really function the way we expect it to function.
So my one question, which was about to be, which I was about to ask, was that what is more important in HR? Is it hiring? Is it compensation? Is it planning, leadership pipeline, etc.? But you made a very interesting point that now HR gets a seat on the table, so they contribute to the business strategy. So
Yes.
could we have some more thoughts on that?
So I'll take it in two parts. First, you said that what is more important in HR. I think it's very contextual. One is that all elements of human interaction come together to create a bouquet.
Correct.
You can't create just be strong in
All
one
these
aspect.
spices are required to make a good meal.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I wouldn't over leverage on any one element to say that this is more important than the rest or that is more important than the rest. In different context, different things become important, but you need to have a mastery of all of them to be able to put them together for a
Correct.
final uh, output to be meaningful in the context. Context is very important, right? Now, HR having a seat at the table is definitely advantageous, because then you are able to influence the decisions in interest of the organization and be able to do a lot of your HR policy, HR communication, and aligning and resourcing,
Mm-hmm.
because you have that view of what is coming and what is the direction of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And hence, these are the kind of people who would fit in,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is what people need to shape up towards. So you
Mm-hmm.
are able to align the people
Mm-hmm.
better towards the strategy of tomorrow. Very clearly, structure follows strategy. You have a strategy, you put a structure to
Mm-hmm.
be able to deliver on that strategy, and then you resource that structure
Mm-hmm.
so that the strategy is delivered. And your understanding of strategy is the best when you're a part of, when it is being formulated, and when you're in the room and you
Correct.
understand what are the constraints, what's going to work, what's not going to work,
Mm-hmm.
and how does various elements of a supply chain and a sales and a
Mm-hmm.
marketing and
Mm-hmm.
a finance come together to deliver that strategy. So that is very important. So if you're not there, then it's Chinese whispers. Then it's like an elephant. You're trying to figure out that this is the leg or
Correct.
the
Correct.
pillar, and this is the rope
Correct.
or the
Correct.
tail, and this is the fan or the
Correct.
ear. So when you're there and you see the elephant being made, I think you know how to figure out the other details around it.
Correct.
Otherwise, you're just figuring out parts and you still miss some other parts.
Correct. So that's very refreshing. See, now HR people, they are so conversant with sales figures, for example, with the sales cycle. Now, when I interact with the through my workshop, so it's very refreshing. I never imagined when I was in sales earlier that people in HR would be aware that how sales cycle happens, and the problems faced by a front level sales team. It's amazing.
If you don't do that, how would you be effective? See,
Yeah.
it's like this. We in an organization come together to be able to run this enterprise, right? And in order to run this enterprise, you need to know who's the consumer, who's putting the money from his or her pocket on the table to buy a product when they have a choice of other products.
Correct.
That's where the game begins, and that's what keeps the cycle of the organization running. If you don't understand why is that person putting that hard earned money on the table to make a choice for your product, right? And then what is differentiated in your product, and then how do you create that through your entire value chain leading up to the value culture of the organization. And if you don't influence those critical touch points, you've lost the game, and that's where your relevance would come through.
So, in your career journey, where was that point where you decided that you need to be more, or correct me if I'm wrong, whether it started with your education in TIS, or was there a specific point where you realized that you need to be more focused on business also, sales, operations, finance, to be able to contribute more to the organization's growth?
I would talk about two things here. I think the fact that I joined ITC, and ITC was always very strong in terms of building business acumen in its management trainees, in
Okay.
fact, across the range. And
Okay.
so the way our management trainee program was configured,
Mhm.
we spent time in the market, we spent time selling products in
Okay.
upcountry market,
Okay.
then you spend time in manufacturing, you spend time in various businesses.
Irrespective of whether you were in finance,
Oh,
HR.
absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay.
So that gave a very strong business understanding,
Mhm.
and HR always had a seat at the table in that company. So
Oh.
wherever you are,
Mhm.
you would know what's happening, and
Mhm.
I think it was for its time when I joined the organization, when I started my career. The choice to join ITC was one of the best things that could have happened, that helped me shape my career in the
Okay.
way it shaped. And I think ITC's always had some amazing leaders, and I had a fortune of working with some of the really great leaders on the business side as well as in HR, and all of them are doing extremely well for themselves. And those early mentors really spent time, guided you, gave you feedback,
Very nice.
and I think
But
I
I'm
would
sure I'm
owe a
sure
lot to those people.
this would also be because you would have proved yourself also, no? That those people were willing to mentor you. So you would have impressed people with your hard work or with your hunger to learn or those things.
Maybe, maybe not. I think culturally, the way that organization is
Okay. Good.
wired,
Okay.
management trainees, when they come in, they do get that mentoring, guidance, feedback. The
Okay.
way our induction program was designed, you had reviews with the EVP,
Oh,
right? So you would go there putting your best, and
very
and your
nice.
your boss would be very interested that, boss, you're going there, make sure you do a good job around it. So it was taken very seriously, and that
Okay.
whole coaching mentoring thing was built in very early.
Very nice.
And I think that is what helped us shape up into fantastic professionals. The other thing that also helped was the ecosystem.
Okay.
So when you join as a group of management trainees,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Mm-hmm.
the whole ecosystem of who's getting what role, who's doing who's doing what kind of a project. So
Okay.
you would support each other. At the same time, it was fiercely competitive. Everybody wanted to do better than the other,
Healthy
right?
competition.
Healthy competition. You're constantly challenging each other. You're
Very nice.
constantly kind of trying to
Outdo
make
the
sure that you
others and
put that extra into it.
correct.
So that
Correct.
whole ecosystem where everybody is learning from each other, everybody is still outpacing each other. I think that's a wonderful ecosystem to
Very
have
nice.
of management trainees, uh, kind of pushing each other towards excellence, and that's been amazing.
So are the companies still doing that now that the cycle time of people staying in an organization has come down? Maybe
Yes.
30, 25 years. You have 25 plus years
Yeah.
experience. So is it still being pursued, this strategy?
The answer is no.
So
Okay. I think
how can a young professional who joins in HR, let's say, how should he become business savvy? What should he do? See, HR, in my experience, HR people are one of the most overloaded people. There are, I mean, in case, all the departments would have so many people, HR would, number would be limited and they're seriously overworked. So much work. So
is
how
it?
can, in my experience, I've seen,
Okay.
or especially L&D people, maybe because I interact with them, they have so many trainings to do, 15 days, 16 days, 17 days. So how can they take out time? First of all, they have to do a good job in their own domain. Then how do they take out time to learn more about business? How can they do it?
So let me put it this way. In today's competitive age, I don't think it is HR or anybody else who can say I'm overworked or underworked.
Okay.
There's a certain amount of task that is to be delivered,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to deliver that. And nobody is bothered. You spend 18 hours, 20 hours, weekends. What needs to be done needs to be done, and it needs to be done well.
Correct.
No questions asked. I don't think I can say that HR does more work than others or work does less work than others. I see everybody having very similar viewpoint in terms of the amount of work that people have to do. Okay. Uh, and it is also depending on the kind of industry that you're in. In our industry, for example, we are pretty much seasonal in most parts of the country, right? So there would be time when everybody would be all hands on deck and just kind of just making sure that you're producing and you're sending the cold drinks into the market so that anybody who feels thirsty in the summer outside gets your product to pick up and have, right? So that is the time when things hit a peak and you deprioritize everything else and everybody's out there in the market, right? And then there is another time which comes in wherein you would kind of take things ahead and move things. um you would take things ahead and then do it a bit differently so that you are able to prioritize capability building, building for the next season, building, understanding what went right, how do you do more of it, your org strategy, your people resourcing, your people movement, all that would happen when you have a bit of a lag. So all of those things, so you fill the year with a lot of these activities at different points in time. Different people would be year end time, quarter end time, finance people go through the same kind of a thing. So I wouldn't like to kind of say that so and so is overworked, underworked and all that. Coming back to your point of when do you find time to understand business, I think if you understand business, you will not be spending time in terms of aligning people. A lot of my colleagues spend time in terms of creating something, going to the business, getting an understanding and reworking it. Right? So if you understand what is needed at the first place and you've done that homework and you understand the business, your rework will become lesser. Right? So you need to prioritize. I genuinely believe everybody's got the same 24 hours. Whether it is it's somebody who's running a country, or it is somebody who's running an organization, or whether it is somebody who's doing something very simple in the organization, everybody's got the same 24 hours. Everybody seems overworked, right? It's how you manage your work, it's how you understand your work. So what you prioritize gets done.
So is it like at the year starting, you make a plan that you have, which month maybe you can use? So it's like planning, strategizing, which will make a difference. Will that work for a young HR professional?
Of course, it's a part of the plan, right?
Okay. Anything else during the normal day-to-day time? What else can they do? Sitting with the colleagues from the other department during lunchtime, will that help? Or as some simple tips that you could share.
Go where the business happens. Spend time on the shop floor. Spend time in the market. Spend time with your sales teams. Right. That is where business happens. As I said, you need to understand why somebody is putting their hard-earned money and choosing your product instead of somebody else's product. And it need not be necessarily an FMCG product, but even if it's a B2B, right? Everybody's got choices. Why is somebody buying your product instead of somebody else? So what is that differentiator that people are ready to put money behind you? Okay. And then how does that get built in into the organization? If you are able to understand that, I think, and what do you want to do in future? So your future strategy, your how do you want to build that further, or what are the new things that you want to do? If you understand where the business happens, if you understand that and connect the dots, it becomes relatively easy.
So generally, see, when I talk to people, see, I haven't done too many workshops of HR people, a few, but generally when I'm talking to people from the other department, mid-management level managers, mid-level managers, or sales guys, so just to ask them how focused they are on their growth. When I ask them using a mind programming technique, that how many of them see themselves as a CEO, hardly 1%. Similarly, in HR also, I'm sure people would not have that goal of becoming a CHRO, and mainly the reason is people don't believe that they are good enough to do that, and that is why they don't plan their career. So, any thoughts on that? How can they set a vision that they can be a CHRO, young HR professionals, and how should they go about it? I mean, some of it you have already answered, but in case you would like to.
So it's like this. Everybody has different ambitions in life, right? And specifically, since you mentioned young professionals, I think young professionals There was a research I was reading which said that a lot of young professionals don't even want to become managers.
Okay.
Okay, it comes with its own baggage and it comes with its own stress, and they don't
Responsibilities
want to
yeah.
take that, right? So if you want to take any leadership position, be it CHRO, CFO, CEO, whatever, right, it comes with its own
Responsibilities,
responsibility,
accountability.
stress points, ability to lead large teams, ability to be able to take tough decisions, the ability to see through a lot of clutter, the ability to prioritize. But I think some of the things that have always stood the test of time, okay, is one is, as I keep saying, the ability to understand the business,
Correct.
understand where the business happens. The second thing is excellence. Whatever you do, there has to be excellence in it. If it is going from your mailbox, if it has your signature on it, before you put that send, just ask yourself, is this the best that I can do? Right? So if that becomes a part of your DNA, that this is the best that I can do, and you will automatically become better at what you do.
Very nice.
Right? So that question has to be asked before you press that send, before you send anything out, before you do anything that's got your signature, that's got your name to it.
Very nice.
You start that early, irrespective of what you want to. You want to be an actor, you said somebody wanted to be an actor, somebody wanted to do something, do into films or whatever. If you pass that test of this is the best that I can do, chances of failure would be lesser.
Very nice.
And once that becomes your DNA of excellence, and then your ability to demand the same excellence from your teams, because then you, whatever your teams do, you're responsible for that also, right? So I think it then that percolates down, and that helps you propel faster.
This is so powerful, Rohit. That's, it sounds so simple, but it's so powerful. So every action that you are taking, if you pursue excellence, obviously, see. But real problem is nowadays, the problem which I find in people, they'll spend 2 hours at night watching Instagram, or watching reels, or uh, Netflix or whatever, and as a result they wake up late the next day, and they don't have time to leave apart exercise, meditation, whatever. They don't even have time to plan their day. So what would you suggest? How should they go about it? Because unless you plan, like you are saying, excellence, unless you plan, how will you be able to excel?
So I think what I've learned from a lot of these talks around wellness, etc., is that 7 to 8 hours of sleep is necessary,
Correct.
right? A lot of people say that if you wake up early in Brahma Muhurat or very early, then early morning habits, etc., those people are more successful. But I think it is important that people get enough rest,
Correct.
right? That is important because your mental health, physical health, and your ability to be productive depends upon that.
Correct.
So once you've passed that, I think every person onto themselves. If you enjoy watching reels, please do it. But when there is work to be done, whatever is on your table, do it well.
Okay.
Right? I don't think I am anybody to tell anybody how they should manage their lives and what they should do and what they should not do. Okay. But what is their responsibility to be delivered, for which they are getting paid, or what some responsibilities have come onto their head because they are parents or their children or their spouses, there has to be excellence in that. It's as simple as that.
Okay. Okay. Very nice.
Or even you're a country, you're a citizen of a country, you're a part of a society. Be good, whatever you are, role that you are playing at any point in time, do it well.
Be a good husband, be a good father, be a good son.
Good is again contextual to your understanding and what your capability. Do the best that you
Best that
can.
you can.
It is your own benchmark. You don't need to look up to some, oh, that person is such a good employee or a father or a social citizen or a social worker. There are people who do all kinds of stuff.
Correct.
Right? There are people who commit their weekends to serving the society. Right?
Correct.
So I can't say that is good and I should also be doing that. I prefer to do something else. It's fine. It's my choice.
Correct.
But whatever I do it well. If everybody was to take that simple mantra, I think life would be a lot more simpler.
Be the
and
best
better.
in what you do, like Three Idiots. All right. So, any example you would like to share where your understanding the business helped you doing whatever you were doing in HR better, and it contributed to the visibly contributed to the organization's growth in earlier or now or whenever.
So very clearly, I think anything that you do, as I said, that if you're not impacting business and something is already working with the business, don't touch it. I don't touch it for the sake of touching it, right?
Very nice.
If you're touching something, touch it because either it's not functional, it's not serving
There's a
the
gap.
purpose, or it is not, it is out of sync with what the world is going to look tomorrow, either in the outer world or inside your organization, right?
Okay.
So as we speak right now, for example, we are doing Oracle Fusion implementation, right?
Okay.
So we are going for a full stack Oracle Fusion. And at every point in time, that question is coming that now Oracle is recommending a best practice of something workflow to be in a certain way. In our context, it may not be suitable. So how do you want to change it?
Okay.
And while we are changing it, do we want to be absolutely sure that the way we are doing it is the best way? May not be true, right? So there has to be an amalgamation of what is the best practice, what is our practice, what is the way we absolutely don't want to compromise, and where we want to be flexible to pick up what is there. And that can only come once you understand the culture of the organization and the business of the organization. To be able to go back tomorrow, this is how the new workflow is going to be because it's simpler, it's less bureaucratic, but it takes care of ABC because that is critical to us in the business, right? So I think understanding that aspect and being able to weave it into your day-to-day of whether you want to do a design an incentive policy, whether you want to design a leave policy, right? Everything will have shades of it.
I understand. I understand. How can AI be used in today's HR manager's life to make things better? How should they go about it, or how should they what courses they should do? Uh, you know, your thoughts on that, on AI?
So everybody's talking about AI, okay? And I don't know how many people talk about AI while understanding what AI is.
Correct.
Okay. Unfortunately, a lot of people who are doing simple workflows are also calling it AI. Anything that you do on a computer has become AI. Okay. A lot of people come and tell me products, and you ask them a couple of questions. It's a simple workflow. It was happening. It's an advanced algorithm that they've created. I think AI is a very different animal. Okay, it is a self-learning, self-evolving animal. Okay, and the same question asked today versus the same question asked 3 months down the line could have a very different answer, depending upon how the AI has learned and evolved on the data that's fed into it over those 3 months, right? And people need to understand that.
Okay.
That's very important. Okay, number one. Number two is that there is this whole thing about data security, etc., that comes into play. So when we talk about AI, that huge aspect of data security is somewhere getting missed out.
Okay.
Right. So that I think is another important aspect people need to understand when we are talking about AI. The third aspect of AI, which I am very passionate about, is that AI has basically converted your intellect or your intelligence and the logical thinking of human beings into a certain code, and it keeps changing as more and more people feed in their intellectual knowledge into it or their decision making knowledge into it. But as humans, every day and every moment, we are taking a lot of decisions by our heart.
Correct.
And we are taking a lot of decisions by our gut.
Correct.
Okay. I don't think any AI today has got to a level of being trying to decode these two things.
Correct.
Right. And that is, I think, is going to be the key differentiator for any organization to win, because pretty much everybody is going to look at the same data.
Correct.
Data is going to get commoditized.
Okay.
Okay. The logic by which the data is processed and answer is given is also going to get commoditized, because same AI in some form is going to work there.
Correct.
But to be able to look at the options, the top 2 or top 3 options given by AI or the system, right? And being able to put your own gut behind it, to be able to put your own heart behind it, and still be able to say, let's do this and not this, despite all the data, right, is going to create differentiators and winners tomorrow.
And which, going back to what you said, will happen only if you have knowledge about the business and you excel in what you do. Only then you'll be able to.
No.
Okay.
It is about your
Gut.
own life experiences.
Okay, life experience. Okay.
It's about life experiences. How much have you experienced life? So to have a gut, it tells you this will work and this will not work, even if the data is suggesting. Because and that is where the leadership becomes difficult, because you have to go behind against the grain and still be able to take calls. Right? A lot of hiring managers, every time the data shows that the X person is better, has passed out from better, has got better grades, has passed out from better universities, has worked in better companies, but you still take a call. Something about this guy seems right? I want to go because this person will fit better into our ecosystem.
And you have
You take
experienced
those
that
calls.
those calls were
A
better.
lot of times people take those calls and it works out well, right? But that's not coming from data. The AI will
Correct.
recommend this person,
Correct.
but you'll still go by your heart and say, I think this person will fit. This person has seen more difficulty in life, seems to have more resilience, has more tenacity. In my business, I need these kind of people, right? So you'll go against the grain of the data and still take those calls, right?
Like the founder of Amazon, he says that he hires people based on their track records of taking the right decisions. How successful, how did they take that right decision? What was their gut? Rather than looking at their experience and qualification and pedigree. So very right. It's very right. So one important question, Rohit, is people at senior level have too much pressure. How do you relax? How do you recharge yourself? People nowadays, even at junior level, are, because of whatever reason, like you said, that everybody has their own life, but people are not relaxed in a way. So what should they do? How should they relax and excel while excelling in their work?
If your work is stressing you out, you're not in the right work.
Oh, very nice.
I mean, one has to enjoy what you're doing, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you're not enjoying what you're doing, that is where stress will come from, because you want to do something else, but you're doing something else for whatever compulsion.
Mm-hmm.
Which could mean two things: either you are doing the wrong things,
Mm-hmm.
right, or you've not in your head made the right, what should I call it, uh, you've not explained your head well enough why this is important. And
Okay.
let me put it
You have
this way:
not thought it
anybody
out.
would like to scroll reels for hours together than sit down and do some tough conversations, right? I mean, it's a choice. One releases dopamine, the other gives you stress because you
Cortisol,
have to face
yes.
people.
Correct.
But this is what is your job, and you have to do it. Not if you can't be on the social media all the time scrolling something what people have done.
Correct.
But until unless you start enjoying this or telling yourself
Mm-hmm.
that this is important
Mm-hmm.
and this has to be done and I have to do it well,
Mm-hmm.
there will be stress. I keep saying the same thing. Everybody's got the same 24 hours. You've got the same 24 hours. I've got the same 24 hours. The CEO of a large global multinational has got the same 24 hours. So I'm saying everybody's got the same 24 hours. What do you do in those 24 hours? How do you get productivity in those 24 hours? How do you make those 24 hours count and have fun? If you have fun with what you are doing, you will not feel stressed out. If you're feeling stressed out, you need to look more fundamentally at the cause of the stress, right? So reflection is important. So what I do is I reflect a lot on the day
Okay.
gone by,
Okay.
on what I enjoyed, what I probably didn't enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't enjoy something, what was the reason that I didn't enjoy it? So
Mm-hmm.
reflection time is important. Spending time with family, friends is important. A lot of people find their joy in social service. I don't get enough opportunity, time to do that, but meditation helps.
You do meditation?
I try that, but there's a lot of noise in the head at that point in time, but I still try to do that.
Very
Yeah.
nice. So when do you get time to reflect? So is it you while you're walking or doing some, cardio or something, or you set a specific time that I have to think about the day gone by during this time?
One is when I'm walking, so I have a pet and I kind of go out, so that's a reflection time. uh, if it becomes a habit, people call it overthinking sometimes, but it's not really overthinking. But after every task, when you're transitioning from one task to another,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of take some mental notes of
Okay.
what things went well, what
Habit which
it's
becomes.
a 5 second thing, right?
Okay. Correct.
But definitely before I go to sleep, I make sure that you run the reel of the whole day in your head and
Very
say,
nice.
think what went well, what did not go well. So spend
Mm-hmm.
some time before you go to sleep. Also gratitude, because a day went whichever way it went by. So thank God for that. Wake up in the morning with again a thanks that hey, I
Very
woke
nice.
up and uh, but at that point in time, I try hard not to pick up the phone as a first response, but just kind of get a bit of a s- calm start to the day. And then very important thing that's helped well with me is after I come to office is to organize my day.
Mm-hmm.
So this I have an organizer. I write down what needs to be done.
So I'm sure you would be coming to the office earlier than the office starts.
I try to do that, but despite that, I mean, you make a list of things to do,
Okay.
and then I use highlighters to color code as they get done, not get done. I make sure that if something is not done in the previous day, you go through the pain of writing it again. So when you write it again, it tells you that you didn't do this. So, and also why you didn't do this, because you don't like doing it, or there's some other
Very
issues.
nice.
So uh, yeah, that those things help.
Very nice. And weekly planning or something also?
My to-do list is pretty much a forever to-do list, right? So it's not a day. So then you prioritize, right? I'm going to finish
Correct.
these things
Correct.
today, rest of the things are going to get carried forward.
Correct.
As we basically got three parts. One is work related, one is some personal things, one is you just need to get in touch with a few people at some point in time. So I make those lists and keep taking it moving forward.
This is so powerful. So these small habits are so powerful, Rohit, and that is why I purposefully asked. Because it can benefit so much people. So apart from this, any other thing you would like to, address to the young HR professionals? Any advice? Any suggestion?
Lot of things come to my mind. Okay, first of all, I want to apologize to all the youngsters because I think they're thoroughly misunderstood. They're thoroughly misunderstood. A lot of people pass a lot of judgments about the whole generation without even understanding what they bring on the table.
Correct.
Okay. uh, at the same time, there are a few things which I think the youngsters also need to understand, that while they are misunderstood by people who are in leadership positions or in the organizations, because they've come up in a very different kind of an environment, they also need to understand that the organizations will take time for it them to meander to come to a place where they find a win-win for the youngsters and the organizations. Till that time, if they can be a bit more flexible and
Mm-hmm.
accommodative, it would help, right? Number one. Number two is, I think, the whole aspect about being um, tenacious,
Mm-hmm.
about being open to uh, feedback from people who really want to,
You're good.
who are invested in them to make them successful.
Okay.
I think that would be something that they should.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the third thing is a bit more patience. I think that whole thing about instant gratification, getting things as it is, here it is now.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't get it, I'll try something else. I think that you need to bit more easy around that. Give it a bit
Mm-hmm.
more time.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing is, I think the generation now is extremely well networked. They get very easily influenced by people around them and what's happening in others' lives.
Mm-hmm.
I think just an appreciation of the fact that people around them, everybody in the youngster that I see are very good with multiple personas.
Mm-hmm.
The inner world, there's an
Mm-hmm.
outer world, and then there's a social media world.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be true,
Mm-hmm.
and what they're getting influenced by,
Mm-hmm.
and people are very good at putting masks and filters.
Correct.
So if you're getting influenced by somebody else, do you know their life story completely, or there's a certain aspect which they're putting in front of you,
Correct.
right? So as they say, if everybody was to be living a life that they have on Facebook or Instagram, the world would be a very happy place. It's not,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So be very careful with what you are influenced by somebody else's life, on basis of which you are making your life decisions.
Are
So
they under too much pressure also? See, when I was young, everybody had that same drawing room, same vaccine sofa, same black and white television, same refrigerator, which would be in the drawing room. Everybody had so there was no comparison. No, now, I mean, they are judged 24 hours a day. We were not judged, maybe in the school, we were judged by our classmates for a few hours, but after that, it was fun. There was no judgment. Now, people, too much pressure also, sometimes.
people choose to put their lives on social media for everybody to see, right?
Correct.
I mean, I see so many people, they go to a restaurant and then they want to click a picture of the food, then they want to put it up before they even eat and enjoy the food,
Correct.
right? It's their choice. I don't want to say it is right or wrong. It's a choice people make, and it's fine.
Correct.
I wouldn't judge anybody for that, right? But I now want to go to the same restaurant, want to have the same thing, because I don't know. They had it, I know, but did they enjoy it or not? Was the food good or not? They don't know.
Correct.
But now I want to go there and have it. That is where I think what aspect of somebody else's life
Correct.
is influencing my decisions.
Correct.
is where I think the
No, you have put it
shift
very,
needs to happen.
yeah, you have put it very succinctly. Okay, so mid management level advice for people in mid management level.
I have a very different view. I don't think there's anything called bid management. Okay. Everybody in their own space owns something and they are the CEO of that space that they own. Middle management
Very
is more a
nice.
mental concept.
Mm-hmm.
If I do well in what I am responsible for and I own that space like a CEO or a CHRO or a CFO, then you're not middle management. You're making an impact in what you're doing. You have your own space within which you are, and everybody has their space.
Correct.
Even the president or a prime minister of a country owns that physical space of that country,
Correct.
bound by the constitution.
Correct.
Right? Similarly, a CEO has their space of the organization where they're responsible for.
Correct.
So everybody has own boundaries.
Correct.
So middle management, if you ask me, it's a mental concept.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's got their area of responsibilities,
Mm-hmm.
and they own that space. And if they own that space like a boss and make an impact,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I think you would do well. And
Correct.
that forms the right leadership traits and the habits
Mm-hmm.
for you to move up faster.
Correct. And you
Everybody
excel.
is middle management if you look at it in one way. Only shareholder is the owner.
Correct.
They're nameless, faceless entities. Everybody else
Correct.
is working for somebody else. So
Correct.
everybody is middle management by that logic, or everybody is a CEO by that logic. You take a call.
That's a very good perspective. Very good perspective, Rohit. So people who again I wanted to say who are at the senior level, so whichever way, how would you any advice for those people or same?
So as you go higher in the organization, you become responsible for a lot more number of people,
Mm-hmm.
right? You become responsible. The stakes are much higher for anything going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where I think understanding of what is important and then be able to do that with the right empathy
Mm-hmm.
and the right decision. And when I
Mm-hmm.
say right, it is contextual, right?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot say this is right, then this is wrong. Your right will be very different from my definition
Correct.
of right.
Correct.
But at that space in time, in that context,
Mm-hmm.
doing what you believe is good
Mm-hmm.
for the organization,
Mm.
for the people, for your team is, I think, important. And I think it comes down to prioritization. It is society, country, organization, team, self. How you put self and your team and your organization and your country and the society.
Correct.
How do you prioritize? I think
Very
it's
nice.
it's it's how you're wired